So we will begin the International Symposium with UNESCO DCMET. We still are waiting for a couple of our distinguished guests. So I will run through our opening ceremony agenda and some of the housekeeping announcements. And before I mention, so we have Professor Paul Carr from Université du Québec à Montréal, and of course, the Korea Democracy Foundation, as well as Kyung University. We all got together and made a proposal suggested by Professor Paul Carr, and that is why we had the hosting of the International Symposium. We have three main themes. It's peace, culture, and social justice, especially, as you may know, for peace with the Russia and Ukraine issues, as well as many other global societal issues around the world. And there's a lot of discrimination, racial issues, all influencing culture as well as diversity. That's why we have created the peace and culture aspects. There's also a common ground with polarization in the society. That's why we have believed that social justice should also be included in our main three themes. That's why we have selected peace, culture, and social justice. So this is the third time around. First, we had the first symposium in Québec last year. We had it in Chile. And the third symposium is now being held in Korea in Kyung University. It's not just offline. We are also streaming online as well. All of the other sessions and programs will also be streamed online and will be created as content and will be shared with you for future education purposes. It's early on in the morning here in Korea, but we have a lot of our guests, and we're also joined by viewers from 30 countries around the world. So we're still waiting for some of our distinguished guests to arrive, so please bear with us. So our UNESCO chair, Professor Paul Carr, will start off with some opening remarks. And Ms. Cecilia Barbieri also has sent us a congratulatory remarks through a video. And we also have the remarks from President Jae-oh of Korea Democracy Foundation to deliver his congratulatory remarks, as well as a welcome speech from the Dean of the Humanitas College of Kyung University, Mr. Bokcheol. There's also an opening congratulatory performance from Professor Eunah from the Humanitas College, who will be playing the piano, as well as the 거문고, which is a traditional string instrument in Korea, Mr. Joonyoung. And afterwards, we will move on to the keynote address, the first keynote. We have two keynotes in the morning session. So first, we'll start off with Professor Kwon from Seoul campus of Kyung University, talking about the role of global citizens and university in the era of Fourth Industrial Revolution, of the climate change. And then we will move on to Professor TC of Québec University and to deliver the second keynote, talking about rethinking the epistemology of injustice and the role of agency in education. So we will also move on to the roundtable discussions, talking about our three pillars of subjects, the peace, culture, and social justice. So I believe that the roundtable discussions will lay the foundation to the discussions that will proceed on for the next 3 days. I think that we have all of our guests here today. So as the first, I would like to deliver the first congratulatory opening remarks from Professor Paul Carr, the chair of UNESCO DCMET.
Hello, bonjour, buenos dias, annyeonghaseyo, kaseyo. It is wonderful to be here in Seoul with you and to be at Kyung University and also with the Korea Democracy Foundation. We thank them for their collaboration and support. I do not speak Korean. One day I will learn some of it, but please indulge me in English for the moment. Before I start, I want to provide some preliminary remarks just to recognize that I believe that it is extremely important to acknowledge and affirm that in most parts of the world, in particular in the Americas, North and South America, and elsewhere on the world, from the Northern Arctic in Canada to the southern tip of Chile and Argentina, that we are standing on unceded territories of indigenous peoples. And we need to recognize the great harm that has done. It's more than a historical injustice in relation to their languages, cultures, spiritualities, and land. And I hope that our symposium, and I humbly and sincerely hope that it will engage in dialogue with indigenous peoples in a broader project of reconciliation, truth-seeking, solidarity, and many human and humane endeavors. My own university, Université du Québec en Outaouais, stands on the unceded territory of the Algonquin Nation, the Anishinaabe. So I invite all participants in the symposium to reflect on and to engage with indigenous peoples. It's my pleasure to welcome you. Thank you, Yeong, to this symposium. We're honored to be here. I would like to say just a few words in French to start. Il me fait plaisir de nouveau de vous accueillir dans notre troisième symposium de la chaire UNESCO DCMET. Notre projet.
Thank you for attending the third UNESCO DCMET symposium. And of course, and we are delighted to be here in Korea, Seoul, to continue on the dialogue.
Des langues et puis des disciplines en quête d'avoir de la paix dans le monde. On espère de tout cœur que vous allez en profiter de notre symposium. I want to say that the format, and Yeong had briefly addressed it, COVID-19 pushed us into an area where we're working at a distance, and although we can have meetings, it has forced us to reconsider the distance between us. And we've developed many relations. This symposium is being streamed online via Zoom and Facebook, but also there are other social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and it will also be uploaded to YouTube. And with sessions in English, French, and Spanish, and as well as Korean, we hope that it will be an enjoyable experience. We'll be able to transverse some of the cultural and linguistic, geographic and political boundaries. I want to say just a few words in Spanish for our colleagues and friends in Latin America and Spain. Qué alegría de estar de nuevo con ustedes por nuestro tercer simposio internacional. Tengo recuerdos muy agradables del año pasado en Valparaíso, donde pudimos encontrar colegas de todas las regiones de Chile, incluyendo representantes de los pueblos originarios. Nuestro simposio nos permite de conectarnos en diálogos y en paz para crear la solidaridad. Muchas gracias en particular a Pedro Pavas Gamboa y su equipo en Chile por la interpretación simultánea. So, the question of peace is very important and germane. And if I were to ask you, in what year were the most arms sold around the world? What would you say? The Second World War, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Cold War, the Iraq War? What do you think? When would we be selling the most arms in the world? And I accept that all of those wars have different names. The answer is the record for the sale of arms in the world was in 2021 during the global pandemic, when we were all intended to be together to defeat the forces of health crises and others. That record was defeated in 2022. In other words, we are a world on steroids seeking to develop, conceptualize, build, and sell and use arms. So why are all these regimes, countries, movements, whoever buying these arms? And it can only be for one reason. It is not for peace, but the contrary. So who is conceptualizing all of these arms and selling them and buying them? There are political, economic, sociocultural, legal, and moral implications to the ongoing cycles of war and conflict, which lead ultimately to more cycles of war and conflict. The question of education is key, peace education. Do we teach for peace? And if we don't, are we teaching for war and indifference? The inspiration for our chair, Paulo Freire, has written that washing one's hands of conflict between the powerful and the powerless means to side with the powerful, not to be neutral. And I think this is really important to consider how we can promote, cultivate, and stimulate dialogues. So peace is not just about ending war. It's about considering the myriad altercations at the micro, community, family, state levels. We can also think about bullying and discrimination and racism and sexual harassment and feminicide and police abuse, cultural marginalization and violence of all types. So there's no other option than to commit to peace and struggle. And this is what is happening around the world, many people's groups, associations, and movements. And despite everything, we can see that this is happening. We cannot believe that war and conflict is the solution. So I hope that among our 50 one-hour dialogues that we will find peace, we'll find solidarity, friendship, and even some joy. And I hope that this is a wonderful and uplifting experience for everyone. Many thanks. Merci beaucoup. Muchas gracias. Kamsahamnida. And peace. Thank you.
예, 감사합니다.
Thank you very much, Professor Carr. I am Professor Kyuntae from Kyung University Humanitas College. So I believe that our distinguished guests have now arrived. And now Professor Kwon Oh-byung of Kyung University is here with us. He will meet us again during the keynote and roundtable. And for the external relations, Mr. Lee Gil-ha. And from Humanitas College, Mr. Ko Bong-jun. And from UNESCO, Mr. Lee. And as one of the organizers, I believe that this symposium this time around hopefully will be one that can share our opinions all together freely, just like a family, and converse together with each other without any boundaries. And I hope that we can all smile and laugh together and also discuss on serious issues without any constraints. So this is a proposal to you all. Thank you very much. So, and now, from Ms. Cecilia Barbieri, we have a congratulatory video.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to participate in the opening of this international symposium on the themes of peace, culture and social justice, organized by the UNESCO Chair in Democracy, Global Citizenship and Transformative Education. I would first like to welcome all of the participants, those attending in person in South Korea, and those joining online from all over the world. On behalf of UNESCO, I would like to express my sincerest gratitude to the organizers for putting together this extensive event, and we thank the Chair for creating this space for all of us to share our work and our ideas. We are all acutely aware of the current global challenges severely impacting peace and human rights in these days and age, such as conflicts, democratic backsliding, systemic inequalities, discrimination, misinformation, and worsening climate change, only to name a few. These complex, interrelated, and interdependent problems require a response of equal caliber. Specifically for education, it calls for a transformed system to respond effectively and build our capacity to adapt and mitigate. Working toward this can only be done so as a global community. In order for education in the 21st century to contribute to creating more peaceful and just societies, it needs to be built around fostering the knowledge, the skills, the values, the attitudes, and the behaviors that create individuals who are critical thinkers, who are solution-oriented, and who are active citizens. UNESCO's work embodies this vision for education to be a transformative experience that is holistic. We believe global citizenship education is an integral component of these efforts, as it allows learners to unpack the issues taking place around them and to understand their rights and their responsibilities to promote a more peaceful and just world. And this is in line with the larger efforts to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, specifically Sustainable Development Goal 4, which is to ensure equitable, inclusive, and quality education and lifelong learning opportunities for all. Notably, to work towards this goal, UNESCO recently underwent a revision of a key instrument, the recommendation concerning education for international understanding, cooperation and peace, and education relating to human rights and fundamental freedoms, what we usually call the 1974 recommendation. This was a landmark legal tool adopted in 1974, and it was recently updated to keep up with the greatest challenges of today and to remain applicable for the decades to come. I would also like to bring your attention to a couple of our other projects that are focused on peace, culture, and social justice that work to improve the quality, the effectiveness, and the outcomes of education. UNESCO, first of all, is working on a framework to reimagine and promote a new vision of education and culture, particularly how the integration of culture can strengthen connections between learners of all backgrounds and their communities and promote creativity and innovation. Secondly, UNESCO also has a program on the general history of Africa, an initiative which reconstructs Africa's history with the African perspective, freeing it from racial prejudices ensuing from the slave trade and colonization. It proposes principles of solidarity, respect of identities, and valuing of cultural heritage. And it is also about unlearning biases and addressing past injustices and inequalities. That being said, the themes of this year's symposium are very timely. So over the next 3 days, we will be joined by over 150 presenters from more than 35 countries, and we will have the opportunity to hear about a wide range of topics at the intersection of peace and engage in discussions that ultimately push forward the dialogue of what it means to live in a peaceful and just world and how to get there. Therefore, I wish you all a successful event, and I thank you very much.
예, 감사합니다.
Thank you so much. And coming up next is the congratulatory remarks delivered by Jae-oh Lee, President of Korea Democracy Foundation. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Jae-oh Lee, President of Korea Democracy Foundation. So first of all, I would like to welcome and thank our distinguished guests and participants who have joined us here at the new Renaissance building of Kyung University to attend the 2023 UNESCO DCMET Symposium at this early hour. In particular, we have special guests here who have created the UNESCO DCMET and brought global scholars together, thereby leading the symposium. So I would like to welcome Professor Paul Carr, chairholder, and Professor Gina Fessy, co-chair of the UNESCO DCMET. Also, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to President Hahn of Kyung University and Professor Bokcheol Jeong, Dean of Humanitas College, and everyone else who has supported us in our effort to co-host the symposium with the KDF. The 2023 UNESCO DCMET Symposium will be held for 3 days starting from today, and I believe we will be given an opportunity to examine our effort in relation to civic education on democracy in the global context. And indeed, we will have a meaningful time together. Today, we have experienced global crises such as the spread of infectious diseases, including COVID-19 and climate crisis. Also, wars and conflicts have intensified all around the world. And the acceleration of economic polarization and information divide has made it even more difficult to resolve issues with democratic solutions, such as rational discussions and negotiations. And we cannot overcome these global challenges with the conventional democratic value of the industrial era. Therefore, we must go beyond our rights and responsibilities. We desperately need a new vision for democracy reflecting the life value of the entire global community. Also, we should redefine the capability we need as global citizens and strengthen that capacity and competency accordingly. So against this backdrop, it holds great significance for the UNESCO DCMET, which enables research and exchanges on global democracy, culture, transformative education to host its annual symposium in Korea concurrently. I hope that this symposium, where researchers on democracy and stakeholders of civic education for democracy from all over the world, including Korea and Canada, have convened via on and offline channels, will help us determine solutions to overcome the crises we are confronted with. Also, I hope we have productive discussions on civic education for democracy and global civic education, and also come up with constructive suggestions. Once again, I would like to welcome you, and I would like to officially declare the opening of the symposium. Thank you. Thank you so much. And coming up next is the last portion of the morning session. We have Bokcheol Jeong.
Distinguished guests and colleagues, welcome. I am the Dean of the Humanitas College of Kyung University, Bokcheol. So first and foremost, I'd like to express my heartfelt welcome and appreciation to 150 presenters from over 30 countries and all participants, including researchers, educators, students, organizations, activists, artists, and civil society members, for all you attending the 2023 UNESCO DCMET Symposium. Above all, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to the UNESCO DCMET and, of course, the Université du Québec à Montréal and the Korea Democracy Foundation for providing such a meaningful opportunity as co-hosts of the symposium. In addition, I'd like to extend my deepest appreciation to all the guests as well as other participating members of our partner organizations, including the Asia Pacific Center of Education for International Understandings, Center for Asian Urban Societies of the Seoul National University, and Jeju National University Research Center on the Commons and Sustainable Society. In 2011, Kyung University, of which mission is creation of a civilized world, established the Humanitas College in order to achieve its educational goal, fostering great individuals, responsible citizens, and mature community members. In this respect, KHU has practiced education on a broader level through which we can deliberate on the future of life and civilization by carrying out creative teaching methods, connecting university education and civic education. By doing so, KHU's exemplary innovation in liberal education was hailed by the university community of Korea at large. I found that the theme of the symposium today, peace, culture, and social justice, completely aligns with the educational instruction of the Humanitas College. Considering this connection, I firmly believe the symposium will serve as an opportunity to explore a model of global citizenship education, especially in the time of civilization transformation nowadays. I hope that this will be able to provide us with the right direction where we should move forward. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your kind words. And now we will move on to the opening performance. So Professor Eunah and Mr. Kim Joonyoung. Hello, I am Kim Joonyoung, the performer of the 거문고. I believe that it is our role to be the performers for the congratulatory performance, but it's not just for the congratulatory performance, but I believe that we have imbued the themes of peace, culture, and social justice. That's why we have chosen this song. And I hope that we will start off our symposium with our song. We have selected two songs. First is the Times of Time. So it's actually a mixture between traditional folk songs of Britain and Korea. So it's actually imbuing the voices of the lower citizens, the lower income level citizens through the 거문고, and of course mixing that with the tunes and music with the 거문고 and piano.
Those are big guys. The guys, like, yeah. Always good, man. That was DJ. Yeah. Oh, man. Where can you go? Oh, that's how free you were. You're like, awesome. Oh, is this? Great. But I would be a great driver. Want me to show you that one? Oh, you're suspended. Oh, you're stuff like mine. You're mine. It's green, man. Why are you on the call? What? Why are you on the call? It's that conference. I'm just listening to it. Showing solidarity.
추억과 욕정을 뒤섞고 잠든 뿌리로 욕정을 깨운다. 현실감 없는 도시. 겨울 새벽에 갈색 안개 밑으로 한때의 사람들이 한강 다리 위로 흘러갔다. 그토록 많은 사람을 죽음이 망쳤다고 나는 생각도 못했다.
예, 감사합니다.
Thank you so much. It was a quite, refreshing and new experience. With that, I would like to conclude the opening session. So coming up next is the keynote speech and the roundtable session. Once again, I would like to thank all of you for joining us today. And please stay tuned for the upcoming sessions. Thank you so much.
유지 와야지. 자, 이제 장례 정리를 좀 하고 바로 진행을 하겠는데요. 예, 그럼 이제 키노 스피치.
We will reorganize the stage and we will have the keynote speech delivered by Professor Kwon.
네, 여러분 안녕하십니까?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So I will deliver the first keynote speech. My name is Oh Byung-kwon. I'm the Vice President of Academic Affairs at Kyung University. It is such an honor to be part of this meaningful event, and it is also an honor for us to host this special event at Kyung University. So our keywords are peace, culture, and social justice. So as we have discussed so far, peace is such an important keyword. And also we will talk about, so I would like to let you know that that's what we have strived to achieve, peace here in Kyung University. And I would like to deliver my keynote speech on the role of global citizen and university in the era of the fourth industrial revolution and the climate change. So I studied not only management, but also computer science. So I'm a professor at the Department of Big Data and Analytics and AI and management as well. So Kyung University is trying to offer the curriculums which help our students to have a better understanding of emergence of brand new technologies. Now let's move on to the topic of climate crisis. We no longer utilize the term global warming. Rather, we use the term crisis to highlight the importance of the current situation. So, for the past billions of years, some suggest that this global warming is part of the natural course. However, if you take a look at the recently gathered evidence, the methane gas emissions and CO2 emissions, the amount has skyrocketed. And this is unheard of, and also indeed is an unprecedented phenomenon. So it's only rational for us to understand this as not a natural phenomenon, but rather a human man-made, human-created phenomenon. So, and many people do agree with that notion. So there have been many warnings in terms of the climate crisis. As you all know, we have experienced many natural disasters and economic difficulties because of those disasters. And of course, this has an impact on the broader public, but it has also created some inequality. So in comparison to the rich and those who have, the poor, those who have not, they have been faced with more dire consequences. So against this backdrop, those people who have been marginalized, economically speaking, they have been marginalized, and the economic inequality and also the gap has widened. So the global warming poses even more serious threat to those who are vulnerable. So aside from the global warming, so there are a lot of consequences and meaning that has been posed by the fourth industrial revolution and the introduction of artificial intelligence. So recently, artificial intelligence has garnered a lot of attention worldwide. So AI, the industry involving AI has exponentially grown for the last 10 years. And this is the index which shows that type of trend. So the AI patent application in 2021, the figure was 140,000, which has been increased by 30 times compared to the figure in 2015. So a lot of investment has been made in the sector. And another thing that I would like to mention is that this has consequences not only on the developed nations, but also developing countries. And what is interesting about this is that the generative AI has been introduced, and the general public has welcomed the emergence of this technology, and they have embraced it. And by utilizing the Gen AI, you can simply type in text, and based upon the content, these images are created. Or you can also use large language models. By using this technology, you can draft a report. So not only the AI, but also automotive technologies can be utilized by all of us. So that has influenced blue-collar workers. And Gen AI has a huge impact on the white-collar workers and office workers. What I mean by that is the workplace will be transformed because of the introduction and emergence of this particular technology. And once again, this type of change poses a threat to the marginalized. So if we cannot adapt to this type of changes, we will have to come up with a way to benefit the marginalized as well. And we should also think about the potential solutions to prevent problems. And I think the academia should step in. And now let's move on to the fourth industrial revolution technology and SDGs. What do you make of the fourth industrial revolution technology? So do you think this is going to help us become more sustainable, or do you think this is going to pose threats? What I would like to tell you is that technology itself is neutral. It is not bad or good. So the fourth industrial revolution technology is a double-edged sword. It can help us become more sustainable, or it can go the other way around as well. So I would like to share some examples with you. So we have this phenomenon called AI poor bias. So the AI works better in developed countries, but the exact same technology does not work as well in developing countries. So that leads to inequality. So why do you think that is? So AI is created or worked based upon big data. You have to think about where the data is generated. That particular data is generated in developed countries. So whether we intended it or not, the AI learns and utilizes data which has been created and developed in developed countries. So, which is why we have data bias. I'll give you an example. You know, we have soap. So if you input the image of soap to AI, what do you think the accuracy is going to be? If you take a look at this, let's see, in developed countries, when you think of soap, you think of the image on the right-hand side. There's a plastic container, and you pump the liquid soap out of this container. So when AI learns the concept of soap, it would learn the image on the right-hand side. But if you go to, developing countries, you easily can find, let's say, a bar soap in the market. So if AI learned the concept of soap by using the image on the right-hand side, then based upon the left-hand side of the bar soap image, it would have a hard time finding out what this is, determining what it is. So, and this is an example of poor bias. And if you take a look at the map on the left-hand side, the accuracy level of AI differs by region. And also, AI can potentially help us become more sustainable and more equal. So if you take a look at the left-hand side image, it shows the poverty status in African nations. This is a satellite. Well, they use the satellite images, and they use a SAR, and it goes through cloud. So you can take photos of the land whenever you want. And the type of the infrastructure and also the type of houses available based upon those images, you can tell how poor or wealthy the particular part of the region is. Another example I can share with you is Facebook, which is now Meta. they utilize an open source mapping technology. So they use this map and they use satellite images and they analyze the density of the population. In certain areas in Africa, so the density of population has to be measured. And based upon that information, you can apply proper policies. So as you can imagine, how people live and what type of houses, that changes constantly. So to collect this information, we had to come up with an efficient way, and Meta came up with this open source mapping project. So based upon these images, you can determine where they are staying and how long they're staying at those places. And this information is offered to those countries so that they can collect the information on the density of population, and based upon the obtained data, they can come up with proper policies. And also we have other technologies that we can utilize to increase the production of food. So Carnegie Mellon University has this project called Farm View. So they, as you may know, have an outstanding cutting-edge robotics department. So once again, it was developed by CMU, and this AI teaching is a method to harvest more from the same seed. And Plant MD is a solution developed by Plant Village. So it's an AI-based application advising how to reduce damages caused by disease and insects for farmers to increase the harvest of cassava. Cassava is a root, and it is difficult to determine by just taking a look at the exterior how well it has grown. So this solution helps the farmers to determine how well it has grown. So the farmers and the residents, they take a photo of the leaves of cassava, and they can find out right away how well it has grown. So this, once again, is an AI-based application. Because this basic technology has been developed by a student in Tanzania, which is very surprising. And this solution has benefited many people. In addition, AI and information technology can be utilized to resolve educational inequality. So good jobs are created in the segment of AI and IT. So we have, as you can imagine, some inequality here. So we can help these people utilize their mobile devices to learn about IT so that we can level the playing field. In fact, against this backdrop, at UNESCO, we have the Digital Learning Week. So it is held to discuss a way to settle resolve the education inequality problems based upon IT. And I talked about the generative AI briefly. And that technology also comes with some inequality issues. So ChatGPT, Bing, and Llama, we have many solutions available, and we have language models available as well. So we have 9 inequality issues, for example, racism, ageism. So there are 9 different inequalities, and there is a survey to determine the inequality. And we took a look at the answers and responses. So this is the result of that recent study. Once again, we took a look at 9 topics, 9 domains of inequality. So based upon the topic, though, so we have yes and no answers. Yes means yes, there is inequality. That's the yes response to the existence of inequality. So in terms of disability status, 24% of the respondents said yes. And on the domain of gender identity, 17% of the respondents said yes. Not only ChatGPT, but also other large language models have conducted the similar studies. And there indeed were some lingering inequality issues. So there are many open AI companies that have been trying hard to resolve these issues, but we have to acknowledge the fact that these are issues that we are confronted with right now, and we have to utilize this technology with that notion, with that knowledge. And the corporations and organizations should continue to churn out new solutions based upon this needs. And also, let's talk about sustainability. We have red AI. So what I mean by red AI is that AI consumes a lot of electricity. And of course, and because of that, the emission of carbon dioxide is quite significant. So the consumption of electricity is linked to the carbon dioxide emission. So we determine the amount of electricity consumed. And indeed, the consumption of this energy of AI was 5 times more than that of the automobile industry in the United States. So you may think this technology is sustainable, but you have to think about the electricity being required and how much fossil fuel we have to burn to create this power needed. Which is why we have to make sure that we create a more sustainable AI solutions. So the current AI consumes more energy, more power to develop more accurate deep learning technologies. So we have to think about the greener version, greener alternative of the AI technology. So we have to think about this trade-off between the electricity consumption and the service expenses caused by inaccuracy. The point of green AI is to feed less data to the algorithm. So for example, if we need, let's say 100,000 pieces of data, and now we are able to utilize less data to turn out similar outcomes with a similar accuracy level. So a lot of AI experts with this knowledge has tried to come up with a greener options. So aside from this, we have other technologies we can use. So when I say appropriate technologies, when people think of this, appropriate technologies, they think of cheaper options, but that's not the case. Appropriate technology means a technology that is appropriate in the given context, given regions, given countries. Let's say there is a region with poor transportation infrastructure. If you have to deliver healthcare aid or solutions, what do you have to do? You cannot utilize a conventional vehicle. So you use an appropriate technology which is suitable to that context. So when it comes to cutting edge technology as well, you have to think about the circumstances of that region, which is why the civic community And also the companies and organizations which develop these solutions, they have to think about the way to deliver and develop appropriate technologies with the consequences of their consumers in mind. We don't have a lot of time here, so I'm going to have to briefly move forward to the next segment. So let's talk about the quantum computing. So we are trying to expand this in the macro and micro sense. So micro, obviously, what I mean by that is quantum, and macro, space. So we have a lot of quantum technologies. We have a lot of research being conducted. So when it comes to quantum computing and AI, if we utilize them properly, then we will be able to, let's say, forecast climate changes, and it will help us come up with the solutions very economically. So in other words, quantum computing will help us make our planet more green. So let's talk about the space industry now. The old space era. So what I mean by that was the space industry was led by governments primarily. But now we have witnessed the shift to the private sector. So not only the launchers, but also we have a lot of data collected from space. So you may know Virgin Galactic, which is a private company. They have sent their customers to space. Space tourism has become something real. And going beyond that, we could potentially migrate the people in the global, the Earth to somewhere else on other planets. And also what we're interested in at the moment is the data analysis market. So we have the Carr Lab, Orbital Insight. They utilize the satellite images and they resolve issues that we are confronted with, and also they create values. And also we have space mining industry. We have a lot of helium-3 in lunar. So we can use that particular material for nuclear fusion, thereby creating a lot of energy. And many countries, as you can imagine, have been interested in this. And 1 million tons of deposit is estimated in the moon. So we can use it for 10,000 years. And space, we have not determined who owns space and which it belongs to. So we will have to have more discussions on this. So AI and quantum computing and space industry, we have to think of ways to utilize them smartly. Lastly, let's talk about the role of civil society and university. So climate change is everybody's issue, all of our issue. And this is something that we cannot deny. So against this backdrop, our role as global citizens is to address this inequality and also overcome this crisis. To do so, we have to teach the community members. And also, obviously, academia and universities will have to step up their effort. So I think international solidarity and also collaboration involving many different parties, they are very important. And we also have to research on the emergence of technologies. In doing so, we will have to find ways to work together. Globally, there are many universities which have acknowledged the importance of the global civic education. For example, at Arizona State University, they have a lot of carbon neutral efforts being made. And also at University of California, Berkeley, there are many student groups working together. And also there are many solar programs available, which enables the campuses and universities to install solar panels. And we also have Cornell University. About 40% of the classes and also researchers, they research on sustainability. We also have State University in New York. So they have a lot of sustainability-oriented courses. Since 2007, they have reduced 100% of greenhouse gases and 57% of drinking water. And also, against this backdrop, Kyung University has made many different efforts. So we have ensured that students increase their climate literacy. And also at Humanitas College, we provide classes to citizens on the topic of ESG management, and also there are curriculums available. And global collaborative ESG related programs are offered by the Global Academy of Future Civilizations. And we have conducted a wide range of research on this topic as well. For example, the climate crisis related SDG research fellow symposium was held. And also this year, we have worked with 13 regional governments to assess their ESG. And the outcome of this research was shared at an academic conference in Australia. And this assessment model of ESG that we have developed is being tested out, and it will be released soon. And the local governments and also governments are working hard to conduct the ESG studies, and we are helping them out. So 1 week in winter and 1 week in summer, we close off our campus, thereby reducing the carbon emission. And there are other efforts that we have been making. Recently, we established the ESG committee. So all faculty members, professors, students of Kyung University are working together and participating in this committee. And once again, I would like to highlight the fact that we are working hard to maintain sustainability at Kyung University. I hope it is time for us, I believe it is time for us to take the climate change as an opportunity for us to make growth. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So we will move on to the second keynote, Professor Genabls.
안녕하세요. 퀘벡. 퀘벡. Bonjour. Hola. Hi, everyone. I'd like to start my presentation with a person who inspires me a lot. And today, this person is a poet. She's a poet from the indigenous community Innu in Québec, Canada. Her name is Natasha Canapé Fontaine. And the first book she wrote, the title was Do Not Enter My Soul in Your Shoes. And according to Walls, I will say, do not enter my soul in your boots. I would like to thank everyone here in presence in Seoul, in Kyung University, and also all over the world, in different regions of the world, in different languages, different cultures, religions, etc. But all of us, we agree with me, I hope, we live on the same planet. This planet is called oikos. And oikos in Greek means the house that we share together, the house where we live together. So thank you for listening to those reflections that I would like to share with you. I don't see well. The title has been changed a little bit of my presentation. Entonces, the title is Decolonizing Peace, Cultivating Peace, a new epistemology for peace. Actually, you know what? I don't see well, so I'm sorry. I have to, can you, I'm sorry for that, but thank you. It's better. Much better, yes. So, I changed the title. I invite you now to think about decolonizing peace and cultivating peace, rethinking the epistemology of peace. It could seem non-pertinent or impertinent today to talk or to think or to discuss, to dialogue about peace, because the war is everywhere. So why can we speak about peace in this state of the world? But I think that today, this is the time. This is more and more the time. It becomes more and more pertinent to discuss, to dialogue about peace. But not in the same way we used to do it, but in a very different way. Do you know this adage? I'm sure in all languages we've heard about this adage. If you want peace, prepare for war. It comes from a Roman man in the 5th century, but even before that, related to Plato, for example. In Latin, it says, si vis pacem para bellum. If you want peace, prepare war. What an insane sentence. Sorry for Caesar or Plato or Venetius. What an insane and sad sentence we got as a heritage from those times. This sentence is ethically indefensible. If you prepare for war, you're gonna get war. If you prepare for war, you're gonna get more wars and wars and wars, and generation after generation. We know that. We've been through it for centuries. So seeking for peace, I think, means deconstruct war. Seeking for peace means construct peace. It doesn't make any sense. This paradox, we are living in, seeking for peace and preparing for wars, conduct us in the situation where we are today, in the situation that we are living today. So let's break this sentence. Let's make something different for the next generations to come for heritage. So that's why I have 5 points I would like to share with you. The first one is that we live in a paradigm of war. Not only for the last weeks or the last months or the last years, but for centuries. For centuries, the paradigm of war. So in the paradigm of war, peace has been colonized. So the second point I would like to see is the colonization of war, of peace, excuse me. And third, a necessary shift of paradigm. Of course, shifting from the paradigm of war to the paradigm of peace. For that, we have to go toward a decolonial epistemology of peace. And for that, of course, we need education, a transformatory and emancipatory education to peace. The paradigm of war. What is the problem with us? What is the problem with human species? War is everywhere. What is our problem? A famous Canadian astrophysician, Hubert Reeves, wrote, but quoting someone else, saying that human being is the most insane species related to the destruction of nature. And I would like to add that human species, us, and many others, we are the most insane species related to the demolition of peace, the demolition of the idea of peace, the demolition of the possibility of peace. War is everywhere. But first of all, war is in our mind, in our heart. We are in war against ourselves. War is in our homes. A singer, an Haitian singer, Emeline Michel, she sings that, don't worry, I won't sing. She sings that the worst war is the war that we face as women in our homes. War is in the art. The movie industry celebrates war in those movies for years and years. War is in science. I come from natural sciences, but natural sciences is the leader for the construction of weapons, and weapons are made to kill, so they kill. The right to have weapons equals the right to kill, and people kill. War is in the school, in the curriculum. Thinking about history courses, we celebrate wars, we celebrate the generals who make wars. And we celebrate the victories as if in wars there is winners and losers. No, in wars there is no winners. There is only losers, and everyone loses. We celebrate the heroes, war heroes. Those persons, they are young people. They are victims. They are not heroes. Oh, before to be heroes, they are victims of wars. They've been sacrificed by their nation, by their people, by their own people, to go to death. War is in this industrial, economic, financial complex. So it's mixed wealth. War brings sufferings, despair, and death. War results in transgenerational wounds. Wounds in the bodies, but also wounds in the heart, and also wounds in the mind, and wounds in the soul. Transgenerational. That doesn't stay in one generation. It's transmitted along. So this is the paradigm of war. The colonization of peace by war. The paradigm of war and the paradigm of colonization are strongly intertwined. Peace is a state of mind, an ethical posture colonized by war. Peace is a space of life, a place to live, but colonized by war. Colonial peace, in its effect, means equation of war. War equals an incomprehensible factor, I will call it X, the factor X, plus violence, multiple violence, plus suffering, plus despair, plus death. So now we are looking on other planets of the solar system and others. We are looking for life. To do what? To bring wars on this other planet, to suppress life, as we are doing here on Earth. It doesn't make any sense. So colonization goes hand to hand with war. Colonization is about invasion. Invasion is not only, it could be invasion of a territory, a geographical territory. But there is another territory for colonization. It is the territory of the mind, colonization of the mind. So colonization is about invasion, it's about domination, it's about oppression, suppression, it's about exploitation. It's the greed. All those violences, all those sufferings for greed, to exploit nature, to exploit lands, to exploit people, make them slaves for the greed. So we need a shift of paradigm toward a decolonial epistemology of peace, from coloniality of war to decoloniality of peace. Coloniality means it's a matrix of power over order. Those order are mainly women, racialized people, socioeconomic classes, low socioeconomic classes, and nature. Nature is also a victim of colonization and also of wars. This theory of decoloniality, decoloniality emerged from the global south. And we can see here Mignolo, Quijano, Lugones, Dussel, and others, but the precursors were Aimé Césaire and Frantz Fanon from Martinique. Decoloniality is a matrix. If coloniality is a matrix of power of the colonizer over the others, so the decoloniality is a matrix also of empowerment of the other. Not to oppress back or to suppress back the colonizer, but to liberate the colonizer from its own violence, from its own war. So for a decolonial epistemology of peace and praxis and pedagogy, we need all of that in education. Epistemology, praxis, pedagogy for peace. Peace is not about, in this decolonial epistemology of peace, peace is not about, as some people think, passivity, silence, acceptance of the unacceptable, resignation. No. Decolonial peace means the fundamental principle of non-violence, security, caring for each other and life, respect for each other and life. Non-violence principle, as Martin Luther King has made his the project of his life finally, and he found it for that. Martin Luther King had a dream of peace. But it was a woke dream. It was not only something we think about when we are sleeping, we are not conscious. It was a conscious dream. It was a woke dream. So being woke is being related to Martin Luther King discourse. I have a dream. Women on this planet, they give birth. Women on this planet, they give life, while some others take this life from their children. So women on this planet are claiming, reaffirming, asking, but in some time struggling for peace in order for the children to be able to live their life in security, in peace. Women, we are giving life, and don't let others keep life from our children and grandchildren, etc. Transformatory and emancipatory education has to be around cultivating peace. I invite you to think of ourselves as gardeners of peace. Gardeners, the role of the gardener is to protect, to care for, to think about. So we need to be gardeners of peace while struggling for peace. It's not passive. Being a gardener, it's a lot of work. It's not passive, okay? Of course, what do a plant need in order to grow, in order to stay in life? A plant needs the 4 elements that all we know, that all of us know. The 4 elements, no? Earth, water, air, fire. The same for peace. So as gardeners of peace, we have to work to rooting peace in a sustaining soil of daily life. Peace is not something evanescent. Peace is concrete, should be concrete in our daily life, in our daily relations with kids, within the couple, the family, the colleagues, the students, etc., etc. So rooting peace in a sustaining soil of daily life. The water, we need to irrigating peace with the vital water flows of fundamental principles and values. Values and principles matter. They are not just for the decoration of a discourse. They matters. And so education for peace needs to be built on those principles, values, and fundamental principles and values. As a living being, peace needs air. So we need to work to breathing new life to peace with the vital oxygen found in the co-construction of peace-based knowledge. But in the same time, we have to work to the deconstruction of war-based knowledge, because our mind have been colonized with war-based knowledge. History and other disciplines, all the disciplines have been shaped in this war-based knowledge. So give air to peace by deconstructing war-based knowledge and co-constructing and reconstructing together peace-based knowledge. Fire, energy. A living being, as a living being, peace needs energy. And the energy of fire, around the circle of fire, we need to celebrate peace. Because we've been very shy to talk, to speak, to raise our voices about peace. Wars speak very loud. They are very loud. So we have to be loud and we have to celebrate. We have to celebrate with music, with dance, with art, etc., celebrating to be able to live on this planet together in peace, in security. In conclusion, we talk a lot about the four elements, but Aristotle thought that there was a fifth element. And I think that the fifth element, it's about love. And according to Paulo Freire, another person who inspires me a lot, we need a radical love. Love is not enough. We need to go to the roots of love. And the roots of love are about the love for humanity. So finding in each of the human I meet with, finding me. I'm this person, and this person, it's me. And it's possible to go to the roots of life. Why not? Mignolo said that coloniality is an option. And I say that hate is an option. So far, we choose both. We choose coloniality and we choose war. But there are options. Options mean that we could do something different. We could choose another option. Why not choose decoloniality in our relation? Withdraw this power relation, this power trip in our relation. decoloniality, and peace as other possible options. I think that human beings on the planet, we need that. We deserve that. And the planet also now is crying, screaming. The planet, Earth, Mother Earth, she cannot anymore with our dynamic of colonization intertwined with wars. We have a philosophy. We think that it's a Linux thing, but this philosophy comes from the people Bantu in the south of Africa. And this philosophy is called Ubuntu. Please, next time you hear about Ubuntu, don't think about Linux, okay? Please, think about Nelson Mandela, for example. Ubuntu, as a philosophy, says, I am because you are. I am because we are. And I think that we need this philosophy in our everyday life in order to deconstruct wars and colonization. So, the last one? The last one was my thank you. Anyway, my thank you. Let's cultivate peace together. Here it is. Thank you. Let's cultivate peace together. No matter our cultures, all languages, all religions, all phenotypes, all types of bodies, all situation of handicap, all of us, let's become gardeners of peace. For the next generations, for our kids, our generations to come, and also for the planet. Kamsa Hamida.
예, 감사합니다.
Thank you very much. It's 11:20 right now, so we will take a short break and set the stage. And we will resume with our roundtable at 11:40 a.m. So please enjoy your break, and we will resume at 22 noon.